UFC 319 was a very fun fight card from bottom to top, and it was capped off with one of the most dominant title performances any of us have ever seen. Khamzat Chimaev just beat the absolute brakes off of Drakkar du Plessis for 25 full minutes. My name is Angelo. This is We Want Picks, and I'm going to recap and react to every single fight from UFC 319. But before I give you my raw, unfiltered reaction just moments after that event ended, why don't you give us a call? Leave us a voicemail. Let us know what you thought of this fight card. You can just call 1-866-WE-WANT-PICKS to leave your message. That's 866-939-2687. Betting-wise, I crushed this card. Great card for me. Absolute spectacular card for me. And honestly, you people hate when I'm confident. And when I say you people, I mean the basement dwellers. The regulars enjoy the content, enjoy the bets, enjoy the success. The basement dwellers hate seeing other people succeed. So the basement dwellers are going to hate the basking in the glory that I'm about to do. I crushed this card. I absolutely crushed this card. 2.75 units of net profit, a 50% ROI. And a couple of things to point out there are, I had a full bet canceled that I'm 100% sure would have hit. But even if you want to ignore that, I had two other bets with adjusted odds. So here I am showing up, putting up a 50% ROI when my return on, let's say, the Barboza Silva over 2.5 parlayed with the Bobby Green over 1.5 fight went from a plus money bet to minus 245. I still managed to put up 50% ROI. It was a spectacular fight card. Today, this morning, I threw up another bet. I watched Jacob's prop bet video last night. He went live on Friday night, did a prop bet video. And one of the prop bets he put on the screen and talked about was Tim Elliott over 1.5 takedowns. I saw it last night. I liked it. When he came over my house today, actually, we were texting about it. I said, I like that bet, but I'm not going to double down because you took it. He said, hey, go ahead. I said, you know what? I will. So I went ahead. I placed that bet. I sent the push notification to everybody that has downloaded our app from the App Store, and we all got it. So the Tim Elliott bet hit. That was last minute. The Anthony Hernandez plus 3.5 hit. The Dione Barbosa plus 3.5 hit. The Carlos Prates plus the Andrade Godinez over hit. The safety parlay was plus 158, and that hit. So anybody who loves to cry and dance and make a whole scene about this, say, oh, what am I going to do with my minus 200? That shit was plus 158, and it absolutely crushed. I had a spectacular night. I had an unbelievable night. And before some crybaby dork who refuses to watch somebody else have any success whatsoever points out that I picked Aaron Pico, yeah, I did. Oops. I also picked Tim Elliott. So if you're going to shit on me for the Aaron Pico pick, I better get credit for the giant underdog Tim Elliott pick. I crushed this absolute fight card. I smoked this fight card, and it wasn't just this card. I crushed the last card, the card before that. I am on an unbelievable all-time streak right now. An unbelievable winning streak with my bets. I'm blowing it out of the water. Anybody who's riding, I appreciate you. If you want to check out every one of my bets, go to WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member. We already have bets on the board right now for UFC Shanghai. Here's how the rest of the crew did. You can pause this, look at their bets. Jacob and Betsam didn't quite do as well as Big Ange, but nobody is. Here's a look at the fight cards that you will unlock right now. If you go to WeWantPicks.com, you click Become a Member, it's fucking $10. Like, what do we do? It's $10 a month. And the unbelievable suite of tools and picks and bets that you have been getting for $10, undeniable, best offer in this space, period, end of story. Nothing even compares. Even if all you did was look at my bets, which have been slapping for the last 2 months, WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member. You'll unlock UFC Shanghai, UFC Paris, and Noche UFC, which I will be at live with Jacob. That's WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. Let's go ahead and talk about these fights. We opened it up with the Ultimate Fighter finale. The caption here says regional MMA because that's what it is. The Ultimate Fighter finale, Contender Series, those are regional MMA fights. And to look at those fights with any level of certainty whatsoever is absurd. It's obscene. It's ridiculous. If you went into this weekend with bets on this fight, you need to take a deep breath, look in the mirror, tell yourself it's going to be okay, and stop fucking betting on dumb shit. This is regional MMA. You cannot use the Ultimate Fighter as a gauge for how good or bad somebody is. That is regional MMA. It's quite literally a reality show of some guys that they think are fun, so they slap them in a house and throw them in a tournament. And that's what we had here. Now, I watched the fights. I don't watch The Ultimate Fighter, not because I'm anti-Ultimate Fighter. I just don't have the time to watch it. I watched the fights to do the breakdowns, to give you the picks and the bets. And I thought Alibi was going to win this fight. And he looked pretty good early. I said he's got good wrestling, he's got good striking, he's aggressive, he's fun. But I hate that he spins. I don't want that motherfucker spinning around in circles. I hate it. He's going to get taken down off of a spin, and that's basically what we had. Joseph Morales was busier than he usually is. He moved forward, and he just exploited the chaos of Alibi. If Alibi kept things controlled, if he kept things measured, he would have had way more success. Overall, fun fight, good for Joseph Morales. The funniest part about this was that DC, who was Joseph's coach on The Ultimate Fighter, kept saying, this is the best he's ever looked. He didn't look this good in training. This is the best he has ever looked. And he did look really good. So good for Joseph Morales. Congratulations on winning The Ultimate Fighter. You cannot bet regional MMA, and that's exactly what that was. Then we had the only bad decision of the night. We had a couple decisions on this card, not a ton. This was the only bad one. We're going to get to another decision next that a lot of people think were close. This was the only bad one. Dione Barbosa won this fight. She won this fight. She won the first round, won the second round, did not win the third round. Pretty straightforward. She won this fight. And for it to not even be a split decision was crazy to me. But it's fine. We made our money. We had a plus 3.5. We made our money. We knew Dione could win this fight. But we said, you know what? She's such a big dog. We're going to get good odds on this bet. So let's do this and let's be safe. And that is why I somehow manage to not just get blown out every week, because we do the right things. We are safe. We take our time. We don't chase, and we're up money. Week in and week out, we are up money. Is it flashy? No. Are you going to get some insane parlay that pays out $200,000 for me? No, never. What you are going to get is consistent units week in and week out, and that's what we got here. I picked Dione Barbosa to win. I said, I think she wins this fight. Her judo is good. Her striking is good. She's big as shit. All three of those statements were 100% true here. Her striking looked pretty good. Her judo looked pretty good. She ended up on top a couple times. She tossed Karine. She looked good in this fight. She was big as hell. The reason she lost this fight, though, is in the second round, Dione Barbosa was on top, and she was on top for a long time. And Karine Silva throws up a fake triangle. And I say fake triangle because at no point was it anywhere near being anything whatsoever. Joe Rogan had some dumbass fancy name for it. Listen, Joe Rogan is a more accomplished grappler than I am, but he made that fucking shit up. He's like, oh, it's a treetop. It's a fucking pancake house. Oh, she's working on a Keebler elf. Get the fuck. Nobody's heard of the shit that you just, that is not a fucking move. Dione Barbosa had both arms in, and Karine Silva had a triangle. But both arms were in. There was no blood being uncirculated. There was no air that couldn't get. It was nothing. It was literally nothing. But the judges don't have that same camera angle. They probably couldn't realize that both arms were in. So the judges saw that as Karine Silva had a triangle. That is the only reason Dione Barbosa lost, is because the judges had a shit view of what was going on and thought something was happening when nothing was happening. I thought Dione won this fight. Either way, she could have done more. She could have done more. There was a few exchanges where she had a nice whizzer. She is a high-level judoka, and she had a couple of whizzers, a few positions, and didn't quite do what she should have done there, which is toss that bitch. So Dione Barbosa got robbed. I thought it was a close one, but she wasn't able to pull it off. Then we had Drakkar, Klose, and Edson Barboza. This was another very close fight. I thought Edson did well early and then faded. Drakkar, Klose took over. It seemed like a very straightforward decision to me. I think they got the decision correct. The reality is Edson Barboza looked very good early. He was blasting Drakkar Klose's leg. Like, it was swollen. It was bruised. He was beating the shit out of his leg. And then he started to fade. Something's up with Edson Barboza's eye. And I got a message before the fight saying, word on the street is Edson Barboza's eye is a very real problem. And then they clipped to him and his eyebrow. Did you watch Seinfeld? Any of you watch Seinfeld? Where Morty? No, not Morty. Who was it? The neighbor with the pen. He sold the pen that writes upside down. They had to draw in his eyebrows and he looked like shocked all the time. That is what one eyebrow on Edson Barboza looked like. One eyebrow was like straight up in the air, drawn on, looked obscene. And his eye was droopy, and I was like, what the hell's going on with him? And then we got into the fight, and he looked okay early. But he started the fade. I don't think it was cardio. I do think age is somewhat of a factor here. And honestly, in the second round, at one point, it looked like Edson got hit so hard against the cage that he was out. It looked like he was out. The cage held him up. He got hit again and woke him back up. It was a close fight. Edson Barboza, as we know, a very good striker. He was blasting Drakkar's leg kicks. Drakkar was moving forward. He had good volume. He was landing with some success. Drakkar was getting hit. It was a close fight. It was a fun fight. It was back and forth. Nothing crazy. The decision felt correct. The live odds were nuts. The live odds, I should have mentioned them in the last fight. Dione Barbosa was a minus 1,000 favorite in the live odds. Lost the decision. Edson Barboza was also a favorite in the third round. And it didn't make any sense because it looked like he lost the second. He was losing the third. But they still had him a favorite in that third round. But either way, this decision seemed correct to me. Edson Barboza just getting a little too old where he can have success early, but he just can't maintain. And Drakkar Klose, I wouldn't watch this and say, oh, he's good. But I would watch it and say, you know what? He's tough. He had some decent volume, and at 37 years old, solid performance. Then we had a very, very solid underdog win from Alexander Hernandez. Before the UFC brought that dude from the Contender Series over, and before they added the Ultimate Fighter finale, Chase Hooper was the biggest favorite on this card. And Chase Hooper looked like absolute shit. He looked like shit, and I said, go back and watch my breakdown. I said, this is a great matchup for Alexander Hernandez. This is a great matchup for Alexander Hernandez because I imagine Chase has to get this to the ground to have some success, but Alexander is athletic. He's fast. He's powerful. This is not an easy win. But because I was over vasectomied and my nuts got cut out when they tied my little tubes down there, I didn't fully bet on Alexander Hernandez. What I did, though, was I placed a plus 3.5. So instead of doing straight money line and cashing at plus 250, I did the plus 3.5, which buys us around on the scorecard. So that would have accounted for Alexander Hernandez winning one round, losing the next two, and losing the fight. I would have gotten paid on that. It also accounts for Alexander just knocking out Chase Hooper. So we had some success with that bet. If I was a little more of a daring fellow, I would have went ahead and bet the money line. But the reality is, Alexander Hernandez looked good this entire fight. Chase Hooper's tall as hell. He looked tall as hell. He looked big. The craziest part, dude, we are in an era where Joe Rogan is the worst commentator in the UFC stable. The worst one. He's terrible. He's terrible, and I hate that because I have seen every single UFC fight ever. And if you're wondering why I'm blinking, I'm not autistic. I don't have a twitch. It's 1 o'clock in the morning, and my eyes are dry as hell. So, yeah, I'm blinking them to get some moisture in there. But I've been watching every single fight ever. I started this in 1993 when that shit was on pay-per-view. And my cousins had a D-Scrambler box. So we would go to his house and use the D-Scrambler box and watch a little bit of porn. And we would watch the fights. And I've been watching this since I was a little kid. I have seen every fight ever. So Joe Rogan's voice, Goldberg's voice, those are nostalgic voices for me that make fights feel big. And now we're in an era where Joe Rogan is the fucking worst. Dude, he's the worst. His commentary is awful. And it was awful in this fight. Because if you listen to Joe and you didn't have the fight on, let's say it was old school radio and you're just listening, you would have thought Chase Hooper was dominating this fight. That's what you would have thought was happening. You would have thought he was having insane success. You would have thought he was just striking his ass off and he was making Alexander Hernandez look stupid. And it was literally the opposite. But Chase Hooper's long, so he would throw a long kick and he would put out a long jab and they would all go crazy for how good he looked. Dude, Chase Hooper's striking is so fucking atrocious. It's awful. It is god fucking awful. And he didn't even really attempt any meaningful takedown. And part of the problem is Alexander Hernandez has fast hands, he's powerful, and he has a low center of gravity. So getting below his hips isn't easy. Alexander Hernandez beat the shit out of Chase Hooper and then knocked him out. Not a good look for Chase Hooper. Like, not a good look. He went from nerdy little jiu-jitsu boy to filling out, Like you can see here, he's not skinny. Like he's kind of skinny, but he's a tall dude at this weight class, filling out to back to nerd. We have seen in recent fights where he landed clean against Vaishlov. He shot beautiful double leg takedowns. He comes into this fight, you could tell he just wanted it to be a nerdy jiu-jitsu match, and he wasn't going to get that from Alexander Hernandez. So back to the drawing board for Chase Hooper, who has looked good at this weight class, but dude, you cannot be turning your head when you're getting hit. You need to work on the hands. Like, not a great performance at all. Luckily, we cashed our bet here. So happy with that outcome, but like, damn, dude. Not a great look for Chase Hooper. Then we had Lupita Godinez. Listen, when I put Lupita Godinez in the safety parlay, I was nervous about it. I know how inconsistent she is. I know. I've seen every one of her fights, so I get how inconsistent she can be, but she looked spectacular in this fight. Couple of things to point out. One, her striking looked unbelievable. She had a beautiful check left hook. Like, things were looking really good for her. She timed shots really well. When Andrade would come rushing in with just empty, throwing from the hip power shots, she would step off. She would land her own clean stuff. Lupi looked really good in the striking. In the wrestling, when she actually committed to the takedown, she looked right there. But what she did a lot of is fake the takedown, like touch your legs, stand back up and either throw an uppercut or throw a knee to the body. Beautiful setups, beautiful little exchanges. And for some reason, the crew that's responsible for keeping track of the stats saw those as takedown attempts. They were very clearly not takedown attempts. They were very, very clearly just setups to the knees and the uppercuts. That's what they were. Everybody knew it. But for some reason, they kept saying, oh, Lupi's only 2 for 12 in takedowns. What the fuck? Those were not takedown attempts. I think she missed one takedown attempt. Any real takedown attempt that she committed to, she got. I think she was like 2 of 3. But they said 2 of 12 because they were counting the touch the leg, come back up with the knee as a takedown attempt. Lupi looked unbelievable. Jessica Andrade is Jessica Andrade. She moved forward. She threw heavy. There were moments where she looked really tough and like she was going to have success, but she's not very skilled. She was never skilled. She was not the more skilled fighter in this fight. She only wins fights where she can be tougher and land big. And Lupi, despite the inconsistencies, is tough as shit and fast and clean. Very talented. Lupi won this fight. Smooth sailing for the first leg of the safety parlay. Then we had another pretty one-sided beatdown from Michal Oleksiejczuk. He beat the absolute shit out of Gerald Meerschaert. And it sucks for a lot of you because the reality is a lot of you were all over, oh, GM3 by sub. Guys, I got to do GM3 by sub. We're doing GM3 by sub. I'm playing GM3 by sub. People love, this is the problem with this space. There's a lot of 1 + 1 = 2 type bullshit math. These are fist fights. That's not how it works. A lot of people were going, well, Michal Oleksiejczuk has lost 6 times by submission, so he's definitely going to lose this fight by submission. What the fuck? What about the fights where Gerald Meerschaert has no chin or takedowns and he fucking just sucks in general? That's not factored into your fancy equation? You don't have a TI-84 doing that for you? Michal Oleksiejczuk beat the shit out of Gerald Meerschaert. Beat the shit out of him. Hit him whenever he wanted to. Hit him as hard as he wanted to. Defended the worst takedown attempts anybody has ever seen. And then eventually finished him on the ground. It was one of the easiest fights of his career. Gerald Meerschaert is full jiu-jitsu nerd now. Couldn't hang in the striking. Doesn't have the takedown. Just full jiu-jitsu nerd. And sucks because I do enjoy watching Gerald Meerschaert fights. But dude. Let's put you and Chase Hooper, dude. To be at this level and have no real takedowns and have no real effective striking and just to rely on one single thing at this day and age is crazy. And I get, I'm railroading Gerald Meerschaert where Michal Oleksiejczuk is literally the same thing, but on the other side because it's all striking and no grappling. But at least he had the takedown defense. He defended takedowns. Where Gerald had nothing. He had no takedown offense, no striking off. He had nothing. When you're laying on your back after getting blasted in the mouth and your opponent stands up and steps back and you're like, come on, buddy. And the referee's like, get your fucking dumb ass up. That's maybe I need another career. Maybe I need to look at alternative forms of income because this ain't it. This caption is supposed to say maybe he was a 2-1 favorite. For some reason, I had the I don't know why the hell it says A instead of 2. I have been drinking a lot today. Michal Oleksiejczuk, I said this is closer to a 50-50 fight than a one-sided fight because if it ends up on the ground, Gerald should win. If it doesn't end up on the ground, Michal should win. Didn't end up on the ground, Michal won. But it wasn't remotely close. He beat the absolute brakes off of Gerald Meerschaert. So hopefully all of you learned a valuable lesson and you don't just play Gerald Meerschaert by submission because it looks cool on paper. Then we had the featured prelim. Weird fight because the featured prelim was a gentleman, Baisangur Susurakayev. He took on Eric Nolan. That dude with the crazy name that I am definitely pronouncing wrong fought on Tuesday. He fought literally this past Tuesday. 4 days ago, 5 sleeps ago, however long Tuesday was. He fought on that card. He won his fight. They moved him to this card immediately. Dana White was very excited because Contender Series fucking sucked on Tuesday, but this guy had a good fight. So they rushed him. They put him here. This guy almost got knocked out. He almost got knocked out. He was wobbled. He was rocked. He was almost knocked out. He was getting smoked in the first round. He lost the first round. In the second round, he was almost finished. And then he found his spots. Then he was able to land some leg kicks. And I don't know if Eric Nolan blew out his knee or something happened there. And then he was able to get on top and find the choke. Good for this kid. I don't want to railroad him too hard because this was an unbelievably fast turnaround. And I said in the DraftKings video, like, this dude has to cut weight twice in a week. He has to make weight twice in a week. He has to fist fight twice in a week. He has to travel across the country. Like, that is a lot of chaos. To go from regional MMA, which is the Contender Series, to featured prelim of one of the biggest pay-per-views of the year, cut weight, do all those things. Good for him. He made the weight, no issues. When you got fat-ass Brian Battle not making weight with nothing but lead time. Brian Battle went up an entire weight class and still missed weight. This dude made weight twice in 1 week. So I don't want to railroad him, but he is insanely hittable. He was almost finished in this fight. He was almost knocked out in this fight. He is very, very, very hittable. So let's be careful. And the UFC is not stupid. They saw what we all saw. Let's be careful if you're the UFC before you just push this dude. Because if you just push the shit out of him and you give him some really tough matchups, he's going to get fucking smoked. He was almost knocked out by Eric Nolan. But great win. 2 wins in a week. I don't know if he got a bonus or not. I'm filming this immediately after the main event, so I don't quite know about all the bonuses. Dana White was handing out bonuses live for some of these fighters. So I don't know if he got one, but dude's hittable. But if he buttons some things up, he can be a very real prospect. He is good. He is tough, but he can't be getting hit like that. Not by short notice ass Eric Nolan. Then we had one of my best picks on the card. I fucking picked Tim Elliott. I sat in this chair and I said to you, blinking less than I'm blinking right now because my eyes weren't quite as dry then. And I said to you, what the fuck has Kai Asakura done to be a 3-1 favorite in this fight? What has he done? He hasn't beat anybody of any notoriety. And then you guys say he beat Manel Kape in a ring 5 years ago. Who cares? I have said a gazillion times over, fights from 5 years ago mean nothing to me. So I said, what has this guy done to be a 3-1 favorite? And I get it. Tim Elliott hasn't fought in almost 2 years. Tim Elliott is like not great. But what has Kai Asakura done to be a 3-1 favorite? And the answer is fucking nothing. And you guys wanted to shame me. Well, he got taken down, but that was Pantoja. Pantoja took him down. Tim Elliott's not Pantoja. Turns the fuck out he is, isn't it? Tim Elliott entertained the striking longer than I would have liked. But once he got the fight to the ground, full dominance. He had 3 takedowns in this fight. All of them looked good. All of them very dominant. Tim Elliott smoked Kai Asakura on the ground. Wasn't even remotely close. And any shots he took on the feet, he didn't care. He's not a guy that was getting knocked out left and right. And that's what surprised me. Because if you looked through his fight history and he was just constantly getting knocked out, then I would understand some hesitation. The guy hasn't fought in almost 2 years, had some fucking personal shit going on. He's chinny, but he was never chinny, ever. So to be worried about his chin made no sense here. I didn't quite full-blown bet on a money line, but I did do the over 1.5 takedowns because my big boy brain Watched Jacob's video. Jacob pointed out this dude's going to get 2 takedowns. And I was like, of course he fucking will. I actually think he's going to win. So of course he's going to get 2 takedowns. He got 3. That bet cashed. I pointed out in my quick pick video that on his wedding day, he discovered his wife, Gina Mazzani, was cheating on him with his teammate, Kevin Kroom. And some fucking dumb dick, wannabe fucking tough guy dork was like, how dare you air out this guy's personal, just for views? Are you how many chromosomes do you have? You have more than you should. You think I was at that wedding? You think I have like some inside information? Like I'm in on the scoop? Motherfucker, Tim Elliott talked about it. Tweeted it like he literally tweeted it to the world. The whole fucking, I am not airing this guy's dirty laundry. It is public information that came from him. You fucking white knight weirdo superhero dork. Get a fucking life. Then we had one of the most obvious fights on this card. A couple of things annoyed me though, but this was the other leg of the safety parlay. I said MVP dominates this fight. He's too fast. Jared Cannonier's old as fuck. Jared Cannonier's almost getting knocked out in every fight. Jared Cannonier is not fast. He's powerful. He's got great cardio. He's a dog. He's not fast. And you cannot beat MVP without being fast. Because even if you need to get this fight to the ground, you need to be fast about it. Because if you just rush forward all stupid and clueless, MVP's going to step up and blast you. And that's what we had here. First of all, MVP had 2 knockdowns in this fight. 2. They credited him with 0. That is bullshit. And I need you to remember that next time you break down an MVP fight and you see he had no knockdowns in the official stats. He fucking knocked Jared Cannonier down 2 times. The second one, you could argue. The first one, clear as day. Boom, boom. Dude fell down. No trip, no push. Boom, boom. Fell down. He knocked him down. MVP is so fast. He's so clean. He's so technical. He is so good at striking. It's unbelievable. His takedown defense is good as well. My issue, though, for the love of God, stop playing your stupid games. Stop playing your stupid games. When he had Jared Cannonier almost knocked out like a couple of minutes in the first round, if he just poured it on, if he stuck with it, if he didn't play his stupid showman games, he would have put Jared away. Instead, he wanted to play the games, and he wanted to put on a show, and fake dribbling a basketball, and all those things. There was no reason for it whatsoever. He was beating the piss out of Jared Cannonier. Why would you give this guy, a tried and true grizzled vet, why would you give that guy any opportunity to get back into the fight? And that's what happened. Jared had an opportunity to get back into the fight, and he did. He won the 3rd round, and he won the 3rd round because MVP did some more dumb shit, ended up slipping. Jared Cannonier lands up on top. That was it. MVP wasn't getting out of that. So while I picked MVP and I was so confident enough that I put him in my safety parlay for a plus 158 payout, I still questioned the decision-making in the fight. I understand you want to put on a show. And it was a show. But if you put Jared away because you poured on the strikes, instead of dancing around fake dribbling a basketball, that would have been more exciting. I hate that he allows his opponents room to breathe. I hate that he's almost finishing people and keeping them around. If you go back to his UFC debut, he did it with Kevin Holland. He had Kevin Holland knocked out and was literally holding him up. Where if he just poured it on, snapped the head down. Like if he did this much more, he would have gotten a finish there and he would have gotten a finish here. MVP dominated Jared Cannonier. The only success Jared had is when MVP slipped and made a mistake. This was one-sided. I knew it was going to be one-sided. I didn't quite think, though, that this fight was going to be as one-sided as it was. I thought Carlos Prates was going to win. I had a bet on Carlos Prates. I didn't think he was going to knock out Geoff Neal like this. I didn't think it was going to be like this. Holy shit. Look at Dana's face. Dana White gave him a $50,000 fight of the night bonus right then and there. Literally. On the microphone, he asked for it. Dana White's like, you fucking got it. He knocked out Geoff Neal, and he knocked him out bad. Fancy spinning back elbow. And the crazy, but when I break down the next fight, it's going to get even crazier. A fancy spinning back elbow. He was having some success. He was landing clean. He was mobile. He looked like MVP. He was moving a lot. Big, giant movements left and right, like getting out of the way of Geoff Neal. Geoff Neal looked slow. He looked stuck in the mud. He couldn't keep up. And then a spinning back elbow out of nowhere put him out. And it was the point of the elbow, just right here in the side of the head. It was unbelievably well timed. Carlos Prates looked spectacular. He looked unbelievable in this fight. There was 1 second left in this round. 1 second. Literally 1 second left in this round. And that is how Geoff Neal ended up on the floor. If Geoff Neal had his wits about him, like got dropped, but was still like, oh, that fight wouldn't have been over. But he ended up like that. Fight was over. Carlos Prates is good. Geoff Neal's not exactly a world beater, but he is a tried and true vet, and he is tough as shit. And Carlos Prates made that look easy. That was wildly impressive. This was a fight that I got wrong. And I was kind of right. Does that matter? Is this like horseshoes? Does it matter? Here's how this fight went. Aaron Pico came in here and was dominating, right? Well, we could all agree for 3 minutes he was dominating this fight. He was getting takedowns whenever he wanted to. The striking was clean. He was landing clean. He was dominating this fight. He was beating Lerone Murphy. He was beating him bad. It was a one-sided beating. Very clear. Very clear, straightforward fight so far. And then Lerone Murphy out of nowhere has a spinning elbow, also lands clean as hell, knocked out Aaron Pico cold. Knocked him out cold. And it's nuts because Aaron Pico was having so much success in this fight. And I know the narrative. First of all, some fucking absolute dork who will refuse to give me credit for the wins will highlight the loss. That's just the reality of the internet. And that same dork will be like, told you it was always Lerone. Bellator sucks. Aaron Pico sucks. And fine, you know what? The outcome of the fight was the outcome of the fight. But Aaron Pico dominated Lerone Murphy. Dominated him. It wasn't close. He dominated Lerone Murphy and then got caught with a wild spinning back elbow. If that spinning back elbow doesn't land, I don't know how this fight goes. It did land, so it doesn't matter. But my point is, it's not as if it was kind of competitive, kind of back and forth. Lerone was having some success. And then, no. Lerone was getting his ass kicked and then lands that spinning back elbow. And the only reason for this rant is not to take the win away from Lerone. That was an unbelievable win. And at this point, he's earned a title shot. He has earned a title shot. I don't know who else you could argue gets one over him. He's earned a title shot. His win streak, he's undefeated. He just finally finished somebody in a co-main event of a massive pay-per-view on somewhat short notice. Lerone Murphy is good. Lerone Murphy earned a title shot. Give him his title shot. I was saying all of that about how good Aaron Pico looked early because I am not on the bandwagon that he sucks and Bellator sucks. No, I think Aaron Pico is a very, very good prospect. He is still only like 28 years old. And he was dominating this guy. He was dominating this fight. He got caught. He got knocked out. He doesn't have the best chin in the division. But somebody with his cardio and his wrestling and his hands can absolutely have a lot of success at this level. He can have a lot of success. So I don't know what's next for Aaron Pico. I can't imagine how devastating this loss is for him, but great win by Lerone Murphy. Great win. And it wasn't just like, oh, he landed a lucky spinning elbow, which I do think it was, kind of a lucky spinning elbow, right? But he intentionally threw it, all those things. I am just impressed with his composure. To be getting ragdolled and taken down 4 times, whatever the hell it was, and just pushed around and tagged on the feet. For that to all happen, but you still keep your composure. You still stay on task. You still take the chance of spinning and then land it. Wildly impressive. Like, congratulations, Lerone Murphy. I underestimated you. My breakdown was Lerone Murphy's more of a point fighter. He's not dangerous. So even if Lerone wins, it's going to be a decision where he was just point fighting on the outside. That's obviously not what we got. So good job, Lerone Murphy. I think he earned a title shot. If he doesn't get a title shot, like, what the fuck are we doing here? And then we had Khamzat Chimaev beat the absolute piss out of Dricus du Plessis. This was not a close fight. In a 25-minute fight, Dricus du Plessis had 30 seconds of success. 30 seconds of success. One random scramble. My favorite part about this fight was I picked Chimaev to win. And, you pick some right, you pick some wrong. And I'm the biggest person to say picks are stupid. even the channel's name is We Want Picks, but I'm the first one to say picks are not bets. And if you're just blindly like, you are a genius or you're an idiot based off of a pick here, a pick there, that's not the way to look at any of this as a whole. So it's not that I got the Chimaev pick correct. I am proud of myself, and I will brag a little bit about the breakdown of Chimaev. And if you don't believe me, go back, watch my quick pick video, where I said everybody on planet Earth is saying DDP is either going to survive and win late, or Khamzat's going to finish it early. That's it. Khamzat early, DDP late. That's it. And that wasn't my breakdown. I said, I know that's what everybody's saying, but I disagree. I think Khamzat can win late as well. This whole narrative about Khamzat's cardio is bullshit, because the only two fights that people throw out there to say that he has trash cardio is the Gilbert Burns fight, which was 4 years ago at 170 pounds. That doesn't count. Ignore it. Throw it out the window. And then the Kamaru Usman fight. And people love to cite that one. The reality of that fight, too, is Kamaru Usman is a giant 170. And yes, he stepped up on short notice. And yes, Khamzat slowed down as the fight went on, but Khamzat dominated that first round. He clearly won the second round, and he kind of took off the third. Who cares? He won that fight. If it was a 5-round fight, maybe that's not how it would have gone, because everybody wanted to say, oh, Usman was able to, if that was 5 rounds, Usman would have won. If it was 5 rounds, maybe he wouldn't have taken the third round off. Maybe Khamzat would have pushed in the third round as well. So I love that I came in here, and listen, I'm sorry for bragging. I love that I came in here and said Chimaev can absolutely win this fight late, and Chimaev doesn't have the trash cardio everybody thinks he does. I am surprised, though, at how incredible his cardio was. This wasn't just not bad cardio. This was unbelievably good cardio. 25 full minutes he was moving. He was pressuring. He was shooting takedowns. He was scrambling. He got DDP in 5 different crucifix positions. And I don't know if this is how you spell crucifix, but that's how I spelled it. I've been drinking all day. I told you that. 5 different times he got DDP in a crucifix. This was as one-sided as it's going to get. And there was a flash at the end where DDP scrambled his way out and landed a couple of big shots. The only reason that was so exciting is because up until that point, there was no success whatsoever on that side. So if you're getting the absolute shit beaten out of you for 24 minutes, and then you land 2 good strikes, people are going to go nuts. And that's what you had. And I don't think you could take anything away from DDP. Like, I don't think you can watch this and be like, oh, DDP sucks. He was a fraud. No. That's just how damn dominant Chimaev's grappling is. And I don't know who beats him. I think the only person that could even give him a hard time, the only person that I don't think he just clearly runs right the hell through, would be RDR. And only because RDR is a physical giant. That dude is a giant. He's the biggest 85-pounder I've ever seen in my life. That dude is tremendous. And he's a good grappler. He's nowhere near the wrestler Chimaev is. And Chimaev is just taking people down. What he did at DDP, took him down, immediate side control, crucifix, boom. Held him there the whole round. 5 rounds. RDR is the only person that I think could give Chimaev a little bit of a hard time. And if he doesn't, nobody will. And Chimaev is just going to be champ until he retires, because the performance he put, who the hell is going to stop his takedowns? Who at middleweight can stop his takedowns? These weren't even the shoot from a mile away ankle picks that he was doing earlier. These were beautiful, lower your level, double leg takedowns, cuts an angle, get your back. Like, Chimaev looked unbelievable. DDP lost this fight, but, you know, it just is what it is. Like, DDP can't go back and work on anything. There was nothing he could have done. There were no adjustments he could have made. 0. This isn't like, oh, if I didn't throw that kick or I should have pressured more. There is nothing DDP could have done to prevent what happened to him. Nothing. That's how good Khamzat Chimaev is. Guys, that's the breakdown. Let me know if you feel the same way or if this is just absolute rambling chaos. If you want to leave us a message, call 1-866-WE-WANT-PICKS and leave us a message on the voicemail. Your thoughts on this fight, your predictions for next week. And if you want access to every pick, every bet, every tool, go to WeWantPicks.com. Click Become a Member at the top. It's only $10. You'll get every single pick, every single bet, every single tool for an entire month. That's UFC Shanghai, UFC Paris, all of it. $10. WeWantPicks.com. We do have an app. It doesn't have to be an app. You can access everything on the web. But if you want to access it through the app, just search We Want Picks in the App Store. Inside the app, you'll have full access to everything, including the fight simulator. This simulates fights 100,000 times. It gives you the outputs, including the optimizer. This is a DraftKings and a FanDuel fantasy optimizer that build lineups for you. And finally, I will be at Noche UFC. If you will be in San Antonio and you want to say hi to your boy, let us know. Say hi. We will be there at the weigh-ins, at the press conference, doing all the things, guys. Thank you so much for the watch. I genuinely appreciate it. Sorry for the blinking. It is 1 whatever the hell in the morning, and my eyes are dry as hell. I appreciate every last one of you being here. 10 million views this month. We hit 10 million views. None of that is possible without you. So thank you all. Genuinely, I hope you had as good of a night as I did.